It was late at night when the distress call was received. Initially, it was merely static, a crackling whisper that was drowned out by the radio's hum. Then, however, a voice came through the noise. Ragged, crazy, hardly human. Every officer, even the captain, is dead, lying in the bridge and the chart room. The entire crew may be dead. Quiet. And finally, the last words. I die. Then, nothing. The signal was completely absorbed by the ocean. The sea was calm for hours. No transmission in response, no survivors. Under a moonless sky, only the distant moan of moving waves. The next morning, however, when the sun rose over the horizon, a silhouette emerged in the water, a ship, motionless and aimless. It was a Dutch freighter, the SS Ourang Medan, and the Silver Star's crew would soon find a horror that could not be explained when they got close. For a long time, trade ships have relied on the Strait of Malacca, a narrow body of water that separates Malaysia and Indonesia. However, there have also been reported disappearances and murmurs, as well as the discovery of abandoned ships with eerily quiet decks. The Silver Star had been traveling through these seas when it received the distress call on that tragic morning of June 1947. They were the first to react, cautiously making their way until the Ourang Medan's outline appeared in front of them. There was a problem. The ship floated, dead. On deck, there is no movement. The crew did not signal. There were no indications of damage, only a hush that carried a silent warning through the men in the Silver Star. The boarding party mustered their bravery and crossed. They would live with the consequences of what they discovered. The decks were littered with bodies. All of the crew members were dead, although there were no injuries or indications of a struggle. But their eyes conveyed a different message. With their features contorted in expressions of unadulterated, unyielding horror, each man lay still in fear. As though they were about to scream, their mouths hung open, as if they had been scratching at something invisible, their fingers curled. Even the once faithful shipmate, the dog, lay motionless in death, its lips clenched into a mute snarl. The captain's body was found slumped over his maps in his stateroom, eyes empty, mouth wide open. The operator was still sitting at his station in the radio room, one hand on the transmitter, his lifeless fingers still. Then it got much stranger below deck. There was a sharp, strange cold in the air, even amid the tropical heat. The engine room felt frigid, as though the warmth had been taken away from it. A prayer was whispered by one of the men. Then, as if in response, the scent of smoke filled the air. Deep within the ship's belly, a fire had started to burn. The boarding party started looking right away. Just in time, they cut the ropes and clambered back to their ship. The Ourang Medan detonated a few minutes later. The fire roared aloft after a loud detonation. The freighter broke apart and plunged beneath the waters, moaning as thick black smoke billowed into the early sky. It vanished in a matter of minutes, as though it had never been there. Some claim that a faint ghost transmission lost in the static can still be heard on calm evenings. A voice far away. I die. Since then, theories have been developed. Many have speculated that the Ourang Medan might have been a part of a clandestine government operation that went wrong, drawing parallels between this enigma and the notorious Philadelphia experiment. Others think there was a darker element involved, possibly an encounter with an unidentified, even supernatural power. Not everyone, however, is certain that the ship existed. The absence of official records is cited by some detractors. No port claims to have ever launched a vessel of that name, and the name Ourang Medan does not occur in any known marine registry. However, is there a rational explanation for this omission? A description of the occurrence, purportedly supported by first-hand testimony from Silver Star crew members, was published in 1954 by Otto Mielke, a German researcher. The ship's suspected course and final coordinates were among the previously unreported details in his investigation. The most intriguing thing he said was that the cargo on the Ourang Medan might have been much more deadly than anyone had thought. His study suggested that the ship was carrying potentially lethal and volatile materials, such as nitroglycerin and potassium cyanide. The package would have been in flagrant violation of maritime safety standards if this were the case. They would never have allowed a ship to sail with such dangerous cargo. This has prompted some to speculate that the Ourang Medan was a ship operating under a fictitious name, possibly as part of an illegal smuggling operation, rather than an official commerce vessel at all. This may be the reason it was discovered so far away from well-traveled trade routes, evading notice at all costs. According to one explanation, the crew was rapidly poisoned when seawater crept into the cargo hold and caused a chemical reaction that generated hazardous gases. The explosion that destroyed the ship might have been caused by the water later spreading and coming into touch with the nitroglycerin. However, if this theory is accurate, why did none of the Silver Star's crew members die from the deadly vapors when they boarded? And why did the bodies of the victims seem to have been twisted in anguish as if they had perished in agony? Even though cyanide poisoning is fatal, such severe bodily symptoms are uncommon. Another hypothesis is that the Ourang Medan was carrying tabun, an extremely lethal nerve toxin created during World War II, which is much more deadly than cyanide. It was known that Germany had accumulated large amounts of this substance and had given them to Japan. The Allies rushed to acquire enemy technology and scientific advancements after the war, especially in the area of chemical warfare. According to some analysts, a covert military group may have secretly transported these hazardous materials aboard an unregistered ship in order to evade an international paper trail. The ideal cover would have been provided by a foreign crew who were ignorant of the lethal nature of their cargo. Unlike cyanide, tabun causes severe muscle contractions that can freeze victims in terrifying contortions, disrupting the neurological system and explaining the body's abnormal stiffness. Furthermore, tabun is known to break down quickly, so the hazardous residue might have already disappeared by the time the Silver Star got there. Ultimately, Ourang Medan's destiny is still a mystery, lost to the ocean's depths. We are left with little more than conjecture because there are no official records, no survivors, and no wreckage ever discovered. Was it an unfortunate mishap, a covert military operation gone awry, or something else entirely? The truth might never be known. The mystery of the Ourang Medan will continue to float ceaselessly between truth and fiction until the water gives up its mysteries. Thanks for watching. Good nightmares and stay scared.